Welcome. I'm Johnita Stanton. We have Reginald Perriman and Shaka Williams. We are Tasari. This is a There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate. And we have with us as our guest, Charvez Miles of C. Miles Realty.
I'm in the building. What up, though?
What up, though?
I'm actually the self-proclaimed heavyweight champion of real estate. That's why we got the belt right here. I just want to get that on the camera before we get started. Let's just put that out there right now.
Right. The champ is here.
I'm in the building. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Boy, like heavy. That's a real one.
That's a real heavyweight championship belt, man. I don't play around.
You got that from Vince McMahon.
I go back to the WWF era, not the WWE. Right. WWF era.
For real, right? Yeah. I stopped watching after they turned it to whatever it is now.
What was the other one that had the Road Warriors?
NWA.
Yeah, NWA.
Yeah,
NWA. Yep. Then they all merged and all. Yep.
So you're a wrestling fan?
I used to be. I went to WrestleMania 3 where Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant.
I was
there at the Silverdome.
I was there too.
Okay.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I got to show my baby this episode.
Me and my dad and my brother used to be real big wrestling fans back in the day.
That's what my son just turned 8, and that's all he do is wrestle men all day. He got enough men for his Royal Rumble. He got more than that.
Gotta have a Royal Rumble.
He's got rings.
Gotta have a ring, the cage. It's so
he got
funny.
The cage. He got ambulance, ladders, tables.
I showed a house, and I went in this one bedroom, and they had wrestling men stacked up in the box all across the whole room. They had the ring in the middle. It was like not no kid stuff. This was like a collector's item. All these wrestling men in the box. I think I did a video of it. It was crazy.
So, you wanted to tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in the industry? What do you specialize in? Where did you come from?
Okay, so you remember Goodfellas when he said, all my life I wanted to be a gangster? For me, it was all my life I wanted to be in real estate. Realistically speaking, I have no idea. I remember 9, 10 years old telling my grandmother I wanted to be in real estate. Told my grandmother I wanted to purchase a strip mall. Still haven't got to that yet, but from that point on, it was just always something that intrigued me as a child. I don't know why, but it was always in conversation. So when I got to be 21, one of my grandmother's friends, her husband passed away. He was in real estate, and the wife no longer wanted to be a landlord. So she offered me to take over the property. I didn't have the credit, but she let me to take over the property. It was a 2-family flat. I was basically managing it. I would collect the rent, I would pay the mortgage, and keep the rest. And that's what started the empire.
That's called a I've been having a brain freeze on that contract since we talked about it before. It's not an assignment. I'll think about it by the end of it. We'll tell you the name of it.
Yeah. So basically from
that's
that
called
point,
a blessing.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. But there's it's an actual name, and people do so that people can know how to do that.
Yeah.
I think about it.
It was crazy back then. Things were a little bit easier. So after like 6 to 8 months, I showed check stubs that I was the one that was actually paying the mortgage, and then I refinanced it into my name. So I did rental property. I maybe owned up to 3 rental properties plus my own house. Went into some life choices, life decisions. Lost the properties. Came back on the other side. Got my license in 2008 in the heart of the recession. And so now I'm on the sales side. Did that from 2008 to 2016, and then I started C. Miles Realty.
Okay.
So
you started C. Miles Realty. How many agents do you have working?
Right now we got 10 agents.
Okay.
Yep.
And you were very concerned about what's happening in the industry with like agent development, education, training.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is the industry that I love. This is like you know how in Brown Sugar they loved hip hop. Real estate is my hip hop. You know what I mean? And so I just hate to see the culture and the nature of the business start to decline. So it's just one of those things that just kind of bothering me, and that's what I'm here to talk about. You know, I hate to see so many people that just want to be brokers and act like brokers on TV, so I call it. You know what I mean? And a lot of these companies are giving them the keys and the permission to play broker, but they're not putting up the work and the action behind being a real broker.
So they making it feel like a broker is a simple thing, because that's what they're doing, literally.
That's exactly
everybody
what it
is a broker. Like
Right.
literally.
Everybody's a broker. Everybody got a team, and it's no knock to whatever the arrangement is, but you have to put in the work.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm all about. I put in the work. I'm a broker.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I check contracts. I look at the houses that my agents put a contract on. I love this game.
Right.
I look at their properties. I help my agents. I look at closing documents.
Mm.
That's what the broker's supposed to do. The broker's supposed to look at every closing document before the closing and approve it. Well, I got people calling me, telling me we got paid too much commission.
Right.
If you checked your closing documents, you would have known what the commission was.
Mm.
I'm not going to complain if I see that you decide to pay us an extra $1,000. Maybe you changed your mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you're not looking at the closing documents. I get agents that call me that want to join my team that work for other companies that have a team leader, a mentor, and the agent called me and say, I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is real life. I'm not knocking companies, but this is what I'm seeing in the industry where people are calling me, can I join your team? I don't know what I'm doing. How? You don't know what you're doing if you got this person in place and this person and a broker.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's just one of those things that burns me up when it comes to the industry. And all of us can say that we've been dealing with agents who don't know what they're doing.
Right.
That's the result of these brokers out here not training them.
Is it?
I was about to say that.
So sometimes, to be honest, you have some brokers that don't know what they're doing.
Agreed.
Well,
Because
agreed.
it's, the barrier to entry is so low for
Mhm.
Very
real
much so.
estate. So to get your license in Michigan, you need 40 hours, pass a test. To be a broker, you just need 3 years in the business. And what is it? 12
Six transactions a year.
A year.
Right. And
3
that could be lease or sales.
So
So that's not enough. I don't think that's enough experience to be responsible for, like, you got 10 agents. Imagine 10 agents that's probably been in the business longer than you, and you just so happen to be the first one to go get your broker's license.
Mhm.
That probably wouldn't. I mean, what are you offering them, right?
Yeah.
I completely agree. And to that point, when I came in the game, my first year I sold 13 houses. My second year, 17. My third year, 30 to 40. So again, what is 6 houses a year? That's the
Right.
Michigan standard.
Right.
But we that have been in this business know 6 houses is not a lot. That doesn't
Right.
give you a lot of experience. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't tell you how to answer a question on something that you haven't even come
Experience.
across
Right.
yet.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
So that's what I was about to say though. So all right, when you came in the game, what brokers were you under? Can we ask that?
of course,
Yeah.
I came in the game. My first deal was with Real Estate One.
Okay.
I came in the game when it was the middle of the recession.
Mm.
First commission was $1,000. I walked away with $300. I walked away from that company.
For sure.
So I went and I worked for an old school company called RPR, which is River Point Realty, under 2 old brokers, Judy Walker and Bill Neighbors. And they was old school. You got to come in this office. You got to do this floor time. Don't call me after 6. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so
They running the
that's
business.
how I came in the game. Reggie probably knew him or heard of him. And those are the people who I worked under to learn the business.
So
Yeah,
then
did you know?
my-
I heard of them, but I didn't know them.
They knew your mom.
my thing
I
is
don't know.
this is so you were saying that the brokers. So when I came into real estate, I didn't have obviously I had to have a broker that I worked under, right? But the broker, and I'm not going to say the broker's name, but the broker was not present really,
Right.
Exactly.
So, but I couldn't blame the broker for me not learning real estate.
You should.
Because I feel like if you want to sell real estate, you're responsible for your success. I'm not sitting back waiting on somebody else to tell
When
me
you take
how
broker
they
class,
do business. though.
when you take broker class, your broker is responsible for training you. So you may not feel that you know you should have learned it on your own. You're right. You have to have initiative and drive. But again, the broker's job is to train you on contracts, negotiation, everything that you need to know to get out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you are in a company, typically they do have the structure. So like even old school real estate growing up in the business, my old broker, he had so my mother was a person who did like the mentor stuff like Chandra, right? You know, agent to come in and for the first 3 or 4 deals, there's a senior agent basically looking over the contracts, and then you pay them a little bit for, you know, that oversight. Then the compliance, typically like the stuff that you're talking about, typically on closing day, I've never seen a broker small, big, or large, look at closing documents and statement on closing day. However, in order to get that check cut, the numbers and the documents and everything need to all be in line before they issue a commission.
Compliance.
Well, what he's talking about, because during that time, the broker still had to sign the closing documents. So, like, we would get, on the statements, there was a section for the buyer and seller and the broker.
What year are you
It
talking
still
about?
is.
This was
In the
back
beginning,
then,
yeah, in the beginning.
Like, even when I started, the broker used to have
In 2008?
No, even going back to
Oh,
the
but he got
90s.
he didn't get his license.
I got my license in
Yeah, but that
2008,
was
but that's
still
when I started.
Yeah.
And then even when I went to school and I took my broker's class, it was still said that your broker is supposed to review it.
Right.
Somebody got to be the one to approve the closing statement, is all I'm saying.
Right.
Because if they don't approve it, how do you know if your commission is right? If your
Yeah, I mean,
commission's
it's crazy though, because like what he's saying, it's just, it may be, because I've always approved my, like, you know, I get the closing statement, I look at them.
Yeah.
And I make sure everything is good. And if I need to make calls and conversation, but I've never had a broker to do that for me. I learned it from my mom, who was not my broker when I learned. I'm just saying that, and she was not the broker. She was just an agent going over her documents on closing day.
So, well, it was more important than just protecting the agent's commission. It was protecting the buyer and your client
and your company.
Make sure you're too, right?
That's why. That's why the check. So closing day used to be really intense, and that used to be a big thing. You know, I need my closing documents because I need to review these closing, but it's never come down from the broker.
So everybody, I know everyone got different processes. I know, you know, with the companies you work for, it's different process. All I can say is when I went to broker school, they said that the broker is supposed to review the documents. You know what I'm saying? So whatever the process is, I'm not knocking processes. My problem is nobody's doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right.
Whoever the team leader, whoever the admin person, nobody's doing it. Closing statements out. We close. Why we got this problem? Why we got this? Did anybody look at the document? That's all I'm saying. So
no, but what you're saying makes sense. I'm just saying that you're making me recollect. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it because the broker's job is to oversee.
That's what the job is.
We have technically the liability falls on us.
Exactly.
We're responsible.
The broker's protecting the client. The buyer don't know that you should be holding money in escrow from the seller, right? But if the broker don't see the documents and you just go to closing and everybody sign, you can't really fix it after the fact.
You can't.
But that's not realistic in certain situations.
Wait, hold on. Not realistic or not right?
No, I'm gonna say not real. I'm saying it's not realistic for the broker. Go ahead. I'm gonna say what I got something to say about that.
So we got to keep in mind most of everything, all our laws and everything were written at a different time. When we got to 2008 afterwards, when you had a brokerage selling 600 homes a year, or one agent selling 300 homes a year, or 30, 40, or 50, and that broker has 20 or 30 agents doing that, it's hard to get to the process, right? But you still had to see them. It was still a requirement. It's just that the business got away from that. And that's what he's saying. It's like, it still needs to be some accountability there.
Has to be.
Like when you get, that's why the title companies even send you the docs in advance, right? So what he's saying is it's going to the agent and it stops there. The brokers aren't even looking at the docs.
Well, the agent may or may not know what they're looking at.
So
they just want to check. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. So I feel like though, if you're depending on the size of your brokerage, it's not realistic for the broker to look over everybody's deal. Now, I understand compliance because that's basically what y'all are talking about. So yeah, in order, like Janita was speaking about, in order to get your check, then these docs are going to have to be in compliance. So, but I don't think that a broker is sitting around looking at everybody's deal. It's just not. It's not a realistic thing.
So
time wise,
the broker should be doing. Okay, so if the broker can do it, then he should have somebody else that can do it.
Exactly.
I mean, what I'm saying, like I said, I'm not knocking processes on if they have other people. What I'm saying is nobody's looking at documents.
Right.
And so that's why we're having issues where people are calling after the closing. Oh, what happened to the water escrow? Oh, what happened to this water bill? What happened to this? We can't fix it after. Somebody got to look at it.
Shit, I'm charging more than the broker ain't charging enough then.
Yeah, technically, but no, I mean, I'm just like I said, I'm just sitting here thinking about it because the overseeing process is definitely a conversation that needs to be had. And I do think I feel like we have like old school agents and new school agents.
We do.
And I'm definitely an old school agent. And so I just have information just from being around. But you do have a lot of young people coming up and they don't know, like if they get a settlement statement, a closing disclosure, a HUD, whatever you want to call it, the big receipt with all the numbers and stuff on it. They don't know what is all this stuff. And then it's very confusing.
So who are they supposed to go to?
Especially if you have a combined settlement statement. If you got a combined settlement statement and then you got all the buyer stuff on one side and all the seller stuff on one side, and then you got an agent who just getting in the business, maybe they've closed 3 deals. They're like, they don't know what they're looking at, probably.
So who are they supposed to go to?
That's what he's saying.
So who trains on that? Does Keller Williams train on that?
Yeah, agents.
No, on the closing doc part. Have y'all had that kind of thing?
We had classes where we have the title company come in and break that down.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like it's a collaborative effort. It's just not on the broker. Like there are so many people that's gonna, like you said, the title company, the buyer side, and the seller side, everybody's looking at their numbers. Like for me as the broker, if I'm the broker to be looking at somebody's closing docs, and I don't even. Man, that's a whole lot of work.
That's my job.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's a good.
I started this by telling you I love what I do.
I get it.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, it is a lot of work, and I can't say that we doing 300 and 400 deals a year. But if I can't do it, then as a broker, I need to hire somebody. I need to make sure there's processes in place so that it's getting done. That's all I'm saying.
So you think before though, you feel like, so you don't think that, so, we could talk about Keller Williams a little bit, right? So they have a compliant, nobody's looking over your package before closing, but if you want to get paid, then yeah, you gotta,
when you submit your file, so you get a listing, we have required docs you gotta upload and submit. If not, that listing is not in compliant, right? And the same with your closing docs, your PAs and all of that. And the way they hold the agents accountable is, of course, you can't get paid.
Get your check, yeah.
But really, in what he's saying is somebody should be looking at it before closing. Don't go to the closing table without somebody reviewing it. So with newer agents, they have a Chandra or their mentor or whoever, or their team leader looking at it. And everybody runs their teams different. But if they're not doing it, the broker should be doing it. There has to be somebody that say, hey, you're closing on Friday. When you get the docs, I need to review them because you don't know what
you be getting the docs an hour before closing.
We always get stuck on like one thing. What's some other, outside of like the closing documents, what's some other things?
So, like I said, the industry is going to a place where people just don't know what they're doing. And a part of it is whatever the process is, brokers, team leaders, whoever, whatever. But then there's also this thing where everybody got an assistant.
I got an assistant.
I don't have an assistant. I probably need one. But here's my thing. You can tell from a purchase agreement when a person got their license. You can kind of tell when you talk to them how much experience they got.
When you look at my agent ID number right now, you would think I got my license 2 years ago.
Oh, well, sorry to hear that.
You can
I'm
tell
mad as hell I got my own number.
But you can tell by the conversation. But here's the thing.
Sure. But you was talking about the ID number, right?
Yeah. I get a purchase agreement. It's not signed. It's not initial. Call the agent. Oh, my assistant. You just got your license. How you need an assistant? And if you got an assistant, why they not doing what they supposed to do? And if you are over them, why you not checking it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just everything has gotten so cavalier and everything is so, let's make it easier where there's nobody doing the work. If you got an assistant, you got a showing agent. You got, I'm saying you got all of this.
A transaction coordinator.
You got a transaction coordinator. What real estate are you doing?
Right.
You're not doing anything. You don't show houses. You don't do contracts. You don't go to the closing. You don't go to the inspection.
I'm almost there.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm almost there.
Let me say one thing real quick. So the problem that I think that's happening is they read the red book and they get into it's the microwave, right?
Yeah, right.
They like you said, they don't want to work to get to that part where you're supposed to be doing that. Right. They want to go there immediately.
And go straight to it. Now, Reggie, you been in the game how long?
32 years.
You can do that if that's what you want to do.
Right.
That's your prerogative to be able to sit back, delegate, because you have the experience, know-how, whatever. But you can't be in the game 2, 3, 4 years
Right.
and you sitting back. You know what I mean?
But I know what you
Well,
mean
I
because I said that to somebody. So, because I've over probably the last like 2 or 3 years, I kind of just stopped doing my inspection appointments. I'll go over here and every now and again, but I don't do them anymore. But I spent like that whole decade plus doing inspections and reading through inspections. And so now I feel
That's a
like
whole
I don't
nother-
have to go.
Okay,
Well,
so
let me-
before I get in the inspection, what you go?
So here's the thing. Part of the issue, what you're talking about, is because of the team concept. So the team dynamic is different from a brokerage standpoint. As a broker or independent broker, your job is to create agents that can be self-sufficient,
Mhm.
right? The team concept, in theory, and this is the one thing I don't like about teams, is most teams run to keep the agent dependent on the team. But it also creates more leverage for the agent so they can go out and do what they do best. And that's maybe show homes. But if they're a high producing agent where they're good at attracting clients and getting them under contract, then they may have a showing assistant because they can't juggle 2 or 3 clients or 12 clients at once, which is giving experience to the new agent that don't know about contracts yet, but they're able to show properties and earn some money as they're learning. But the assistant dynamic, most of those agents you're talking about, it's not their assistant, it's the team assistant and transaction coordinator that the team leader is paying for. The problem with that structure, it creates a crutch for those agents because now
Exactly.
they never learn how
They don't do the basics.
Yeah, they don't know the basics. They don't know how to write the contract. Well, if a buyer wants to make an offer 7:30 on a Saturday night, your assistant is not there. How do you get that offer completed
They
and
in trouble.
submitted? Right.
Yeah.
So you create a crutch, but from a team concept, a lot of teams run to keep those agents dependent on the team so they're not self-sufficient. So
agree.
when you get new agents, especially if they're on a bad team and they're not getting the training, then you're going to keep running into that.
And what you're saying, it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense that if you're a high producing agent,
Right.
but in order to be a high producing agent, you had to come through the trenches. Nobody about to walk in here and go selling like crazy year one. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as you've come through the trenches,
Right.
now you're a high producer. And you can do that. You can delegate.
Right.
But I'm talking about the brand new ones. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got your license in 2021.
And nobody's
They don't even know real estate market yet.
you know
right?
what I mean?
They haven't even been through one side.
And I am not trying to be disrespectful because I work with anybody. But what I'm saying is, it's not my job to train your agent.
Because you're doing
Right.
both
You know what I'm
sides
saying?
now. Yeah.
And if your agent, it's sometimes they just don't do what they're supposed
I
to
get
do.
what
And
you
I
mean
just,
Right.
because
Hey.
I'm on the phone with agents sometimes, and I think Shaka's done this too. But you just know you feel bad. You want to help them. Like, okay, this purchase agreement. I'm not trying to insult you, but in your new mortgage part, you got some things missing there. You may want to check some of these boxes. Like, it's funny because sometimes I'll have Tawana over at Peak Title do some of my training for me, and when she's going through the contract, she'd be like, "Janita's really good about checking in all the boxes," and I'd be like, "I didn't even really realize that." But it was something that just kind of came up, when you get a purchase agreement or a listing agreement. I think somewhere along the line, somebody said something about like having so many empty boxes. So from that point forward, I started filling in everything.
So I'm different because I mostly deal on the list side. I need my deal to close. So if you bring a good buyer, I don't need you screwing this up, right? You probably got the best buyer out the pile out of 11 offers. Just because you don't know what you're doing, I don't need my seller to miss out.
Oh, so we gonna
Yeah.
we gonna
Yeah.
work it
do
out.
this.
So
We gonna work it out.
I'm gonna walk you through it, and I'm gonna be like, look, we got other offers. This is your number 3, but this one got an escalation clause or appraisal gain. Well, what's that? Well, this is how it works.
Yeah.
Go see if your buyer may want to do that. Why do I do that? Because it benefits my client.
Yeah.
Of course.
But they also learn in the process. So when they submit another offer, they're like, okay, I'm on top of
Right.
it. Right.
But that's what we said. We're
And
saying
I-
the same thing. Like,
Right.
if you
I
look
have
at
no problem
yeah.
with that. Let's
Right.
Let's help each other.
right.
But that should not start being the industry standard.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
And it is.
We shouldn't
Yeah.
have to
Right.
do that all the time.
Right.
Where
Because you paying your broker, not me.
Exactly.
Right.
Because I'm going to charge.
I find myself doing
But
that.
I do for what you said.
we done talked on the phone about a credit for inspection. You don't
Right.
send me addendum. You
Right.
think I'm gonna
Look.
mention it again to you?
Right.
I've sent emails like, send me an addendum that says this exactly, so they can copy and paste it.
And then at the end, they like, but say the only problem is though at the end, I just don't want no smoke. I want my deal to close, like Reggie said, and I want it to be seamless as it can, because I don't have time at the end for somebody to be coming back talking about that inspection credit, and now they got to redo all the damn the HUD and everything.
I agree.
Hey,
But
we gonna get it out the
it
way.
goes back to somebody should be supervising.
Right.
So now you got the deal accepted.
Mhm.
I look at my purchase agreements. Okay, tell my agent, you think I can get an agency disclosure? You think you missed this. So I'm the one that's looking at it,
Mhm.
and I'm letting them know somebody should be doing that for everybody, whether it be
Right.
the broker, the team leader, whoever, whatever the process is. That's all I'm saying.
So do you still got the big folders where they got to put all of their documents in, and then they put
Paper.
the paper on it, and then they got to check the box?
Paper.
Yep.
Okay.
I do it. Paper. I need the white folder. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just the way I was raised. I've been trying. When I say raised in the game, I've been trying to convert to digital, but I need my paper.
I don't want
Right.
no paper.
I need my big
Look.
folder.
Look, if you don't, you better. Hey, they be trying to give you that closing package, bruh. You don't get that thing away from me. You can mail that in to the compliance and email me mine.
Yeah.
because I don't have nowhere for
Hey,
it.
man, I
Send me
told you, I
electronic
told you I'm old school.
documents. I'm
I
old
wanna-
school too. I'm hard to get away from the paper. Like, trust me.
Yeah.
I
But-
want to ask y'all something. So we talked about agents getting trained, right?
Mhm.
And I think we all dealt with this. So you're available to train. You're willing to teach them. You're available Monday through Friday or whenever, right? What about the agents that just don't show up?
Yeah, that's
And
most
then
of
all
them.
of a sudden,
That's the majority
they're
of them.
calling you at 7:30 on a
Mhm.
Sunday with an issue on something you've been
Look.
training at for the past month.
I got fired by an agent. I'm gonna tell stress quick.
agent?
An agent. We talked about this. You know this person. You don't know when I. So this person would call me all the time. I would take the phone call, and then I would try to set aside time for more training. She would always have reasons. My husband, my kids, my this, my that. Okay, no problem. Just whenever you just call me back when you got another free moment. I went on vacation, and this person had a transaction that she needed help with, and I didn't respond maybe within like, I don't know, 12 hours or some short amount of time. And I got an email that basically says that I am not helping, I am not training, I am not available ever. And this is somebody I've met. Come shadow me. Come pull up. Let me show you how to show a house, like all of the things. And the only time we did not do some sort of like training or consulting or whatever was when her kid or her husband had something that she had to cancel for outside of the time I went out of town.
I'm gonna tell you how to nip that in the bud. You actually should have fired her before she fired
Facts.
you.
You're right.
Because
She was horrible.
in a leadership
Mhm.
position, you need to make some stuff mandatory. Like
Mhm.
you need to. All right, so I have like a 90-day probationary period, like for it, right? This is what you have to accomplish. This is your checklist within these 90 days. If not, you're gonna fire yourself from the team. Because what's gonna happen, you're gonna end up with those scenarios. And you like, man, I've been training on that for the past 2 months. Where were you
Then
at?
you ain't showed up.
Now all of a sudden you mad because I'm in Panama or something and you
Mhm.
can't get a hold of me.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where you was at.
Yes.
I mean, people gonna be people. I try to set up training the way it is. Sometimes things come up. That's one thing that I do. Offer is a little bit of flexibility and availability to answer questions. But my problem is not answering the questions or helping when it's a deal like that. Because I also let them know I'm going out of town or I won't be available today, tomorrow, whatever. The thing is, all agents should be progressing.
Mhm.
Right.
So if you got that one question that you never dealt with, yeah, we can talk about that. We
For
can
sure.
fix this
But
problem.
not the
Right.
same
But
one.
don't call me talking about what we put on
Yeah.
number 7 of the purchase agreement. You know what I mean? I'll be like,
Right.
what you mean?
How we
You
gonna
have
get into
no
real
idea
time?
how many
How we
times.
get on real con-
Yeah.
Look, I have to tell people, read the purchase agreement.
They don't even read it.
Or I've sent like full transactions of like deals, like my past deals,
Mhm.
highlighted
That's a good
through
one.
checkbox.
Yep.
Read the documents. If you just read it, it's like fairly, especially if you got like something to go off of. So then you read it, you have something to go off of, so you can see how this other person filled in the blanks.
Mhm.
All right. Now if I don't want to say something that I shouldn't say, but you should be able to comprehend if you read. Because I think a lot of what we deal with is a lack of reading.
Yeah.
Like you won't read.
The facts. Yep. Yeah.
Well,
I think that's the majority of it.
That's definitely
That's
a part
the majority
of it.
of
That's definitely a part of it. But you know,
Do you have a checklist that says, so like you just explained when I asked you about the folder, you obviously have something that says what you need for a successful transaction. That may be your purchase agreement, your agency disclosure, seller disclosure, lead-based paint. And then you get folders that don't have all the documents because they didn't read it. They didn't read what was needed to turn in.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, most of my agents are seasoned, and once you get a couple transactions under your belt, the basics are the basics. They're gonna be the same. You're gonna have a purchase agreement, lead-based paint, seller disclosure, agency disclosure. That's the basics. You know what I'm saying? So you should have that with every deal. And I know sometimes, you moving, you shaking, you might forget a document. So I'll tell them, but usually those things are the basics that you're going to have with every deal, unless it's, the other side. But I don't have too much problem with that. But if there's something missing, I'm the one that says, hey, I need this. I need that.
He just taking it from the perspective. I mean, I get it. Your brokerage is on the line. That's your livelihood. So you're like, hey, this stuff got to go right. So I definitely understand and get it. I was gonna ask you though. So at your height, you had how many agents?
29.
29. So did you go over every deal, or did you have? I'm talking about before, not after. I understand compliance. So what he's saying is prior to closing. Somebody needs to be looking at every closing, every HUD.
I had, and she's actually a broker now, but I had 2 agents become brokers during that time period. So they would mentor the newer agents. But we was doing so many REO deals. Most of them was cash. So it wasn't all the extra documents. And it was like the same 4 or 5 banks. So I knew their contracts back and forth. So it was just like, fill this out. And by the time we got to closing, all we needed to see was the settlement statement. Because all the other documents were boilerplate templates.
But did you look at every settlement statement for every deal? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you had somebody to do it.
Yeah, because everybody was getting their documents in advance. And my agents were trained to know how to explain it to the buyers. Look, this is why you're prorating taxes. This is why you prorating taxes. This is how taxes are prorated. So they knew to go over it with the buyers. And if the buyers had questions that they couldn't answer, then they would come to me.
So you feel like your agent
I trained more on the front end for the agents to understand what they were doing.
Well, he's saying, you trained, so that's what he's saying.
He still has
Chavez is saying that the newer agents need to be trained the way.
Yeah, he's saying that they were trained by him, so he didn't have to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. So, but that's what I mean. It just has to be some form of supervision.
So
that's all I'm saying.
Point, it's got to be something.
I mean, as a broker, if you got 100 deals coming in at a certain time, of course, literally you can't look at it, but you have to put something in place.
Right.
You put an agent, you put a team leader, you put somebody. It just can't fall by the wayside. And it's not just about documents. What I'm saying is a lot of things are falling by the wayside. We all dealing with people who don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Here's where all the failure come from. Most people don't have a system. And a good system, you can have a great system and below average people like a fast food chain, right? People don't know how they don't have to know how to read to work at McDonald's, to be honest, right? Because the system is so foolproof. You do this, you do that. Once you train them on the system, it's like, here's what you do. So most of the agents now, they're in a bad system when you're getting that type of response from those agents. And we're in the business that attract people that want to be, I want to have my own schedule, do what I want to do. And they don't want to follow a system neither. That's why they don't show up to the trainings. That's why they don't have all the paperwork. That's why they don't know how to explain things.
They think it's a get rich quick
scheme. And that's what it is. This is not that.
Yeah.
This is not the business where you're going to jump in it. You're going to be fly riding a Ferrari. You're going to work 2 days a week. You know what I'm saying? This is a serious business. And I just treat it as such. And I think it should be explained
like
that it should be treated as such. And then the broker had to set the example, or whomever, had to set the example. This is a serious business. This is a large purchase. This is something that this person may keep forever, or they may make thousands and thousands of dollars off of it. So we got to know what we're doing. That's all. Just take the business serious.
I got a question. What would you do? So what would you suggest? Would you suggest more hours prior to getting your license? What would be your suggestion for
No, I don't want to say that. All I'm saying is, my whole gripe is, we're in the business. Let's make our business flourish together. So whomever is taking the lead, just be serious about it and just do a little bit more when it comes to the training, and make sure that the people that you're sending out there are equipped for the work that they're going to do. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
What type of training are you doing?
So I do hands-on training. I have a small brokerage intentionally. And, me and Reggie done talked about this before, but my goal has never been to amass a lot of agents. And, this is a business that I love. I love the people that I work for, and I love the people that I work with. My team is like my family. These are my brothers and sisters. So I do hands-on training. We talk on the phone. We go over purchase agreements. We meet. We do whatever we have to do to get them basically up to speed when they first come. When they first start, I encourage them to start marketing, advertising themselves. Get yourself a client. Once you get a client that's either asking questions, looking to buy, looking to sell, whatever, I walk them through the process from there. And we kind of go transaction by transaction, because I don't like to sit a person down and give them the whole book of real estate, because they're not going to remember it. And it's not going to make sense if I tell you everything about listing and your first client is a buyer, or vice versa. So what I like to do is I tell them, I go over the basics. I give them forms and documents to look over and read, but get yourself a client.
Right.
Or I give them a client. Now, this is the training starts here. You got a buyer. This is what we do. We qualify them. We do this. You got somebody who's thinking about selling. We run comps. We do this. We do this. And I go through with these people, with my people, one by one, and give them the training. So I know that they know what's going on, because I told them.
Right. There's no replacement for experience. Like, I feel like, that's why I feel like you can do all that classroom stuff you want to do, but you got to get out here in the real world and have the experience. That's the only way. That's why, people would be like, "Oh, you know everything." I said the same thing about Reggie, right? And Janita is too. But I said, I feel like I know everything in real estate, right? But when I be listening to Reggie, I be like, damn, he literally know every damn thing in real estate.
You can't nobody talk. I can talk some stuff, but Reggie be talking.
I be like,
money stuff. He be right too. So
I mean, he be understanding it though. He know you could, but that all came from his experience.
Exactly.
Like, he actually went through this,
and that's what I'm saying. So how can you jump in this game without the experience, and just out here just willy-nilly? You know what I'm saying? Now you got a transaction coordinator.
That's because they went to the class though. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like they went to the trainings, all the trainings that they brokerage offer, and they feel like, man, I know. And they passed the real estate exam, and they feel like they know everything. You know nothing, because you've done nothing.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening. That's why I feel like I don't feel like the training is it. I feel like you got to get out here and work. I learned everything from actually doing it.
Yeah.
You gonna make mistakes. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna make mistakes.
Man, I tell people all the time, like, unless you out here just doing something flat out illegal, you're probably not gonna make a big enough mistake to end the world. Like, a lot of newer agents, they're always just so afraid of like messing something up.
Like, I wish they would be afraid to mess up, because I get a lot of people who just be throwing some stuff together. You be, what the heck is
right?
You know what I'm saying? So, and then, like you said, we coach them through it, no problem, whatever. Yeah, you got to get out there and try it.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and try it. But it's just that it's one of them things where we just got to be intentional and serious about what we doing. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? We just
agent.
I mean, somebody that we might wish was a little bit more timid, but it's good.
I'm happy. I'm happy that that the agent is the way that they are, because when I see it, I just be like, yeah. I'm like, this one right here is gonna make it. You know what I mean? Yeah, they out there doing everything in the world, right? And then. So it does make it a little bit difficult, because now you got to start paying attention to everything they doing, right? But
I'd be like, bruh.
I'd rather that than that person that's sitting around at home, like the person you're talking about that's blaming somebody because they didn't know how to answer, or they didn't know how to fill out a purchase agreement because they wouldn't read the purchase agreement.
So
you know what I mean?
I've I've gotten people, so not like our people per se, but just like talking, having conversation, people who maybe had a license, but now they don't, or they want to get back into it. And it's like, well, what happened? Well, my broker wasn't doing nothing for me, and my broker wasn't giving me any leads, and my broker wasn't doing this and doing that.
Right.
And when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I get it. But I didn't come up in that kind of a world.
I didn't either.
When I got my real estate
either.
license, I was given a client because my mother sold real estate. So, she had a young client. We were similar in age. And she was like, this your client. But that's the only one client that I was ever given.
My broker was like, I'm going to tell you, I literally came in the office. Judy Walker looked at me and she said, look me up and down. All right, then. Go on out there.
Right.
That was it.
That's how you got to do it.
Yeah.
My first broker, they came in, they showed me how to complete a purchase agreement.
Mhm.
This is what you put here. They put me on floor time
Mm-hmm.
because the
Gotta be on
ads
floor
they
time.
were running were catered to a certain price point, price range, and all of that. That PA was going to work regardless, right?
Mhm.
It was either FHA or conventional 90% of the time. If you knew how to fill in 4 or 5 boxes, you were going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You go out, show houses, you learn how to open a lockbox when you got there, that type of thing. But it was just like, it wasn't no formal training, but I learned more like on the fly.
Yeah, that floor time, that gets you ready for them pre-qualifying questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The rejection.
These folks don't even know nothing about no floor time.
Yeah.
You got to come
You
in and
send
do
them
a
little
couple hours.
box.
Yep. You got to get used to talking
But
to people,
that
understanding
used to be
different
also
scenarios.
how brokerages kept people answering the phones too.
Of course.
Right.
Because people had to sign up for floor time.
Yeah.
And they had to have somebody answering the phones.
Yeah. That's my era.
Let me ask you this. What's your ideal agent? Would you prefer a brand new agent that's coachable or an experienced agent that's already doing numbers and don't require a lot of your time, if any time?
So I'm looking for a experienced agent because I haven't. Most of my agents have started with me from brand new,
Right.
and I like to be able to coach a agent,
Right.
basically train them up, help them to get started. So, but I guess if I had the choice, I would definitely take an experienced agent if that person was going to be still coachable.
Right.
I don't need an experienced agent who we gonna do it his way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if it's a person that's experienced and they still like, okay, what's your feedback? What's your thoughts on this? Yeah, we can work. We can work. But I don't mind at all a brand new person. I don't heavily recruit because I have a team that's a family, and so you got to fit within this family arrangement. So my goal is not just to get anybody off the street. We did that in the beginning, and people came, people left.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm very, very strategic about who's coming, what they offering, what they doing. That's just a growing pain.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just talked to Shaka about the same thing. Like, I'm just not really interested anymore. And I mean, we can get a few people, but I would prefer to be able to just have some really well-oiled machines.
Again, I'm with you 100%. I want the 10 agents that we have, if everybody is working at their own capacity, whatever they can do, the best they can do, plus what I do, we gonna make it. We gonna be a contender.
Charting to grow for it though, right?
I got. So I don't know. I was gonna ask you this afterwards, but I'm gonna ask it right now, I guess, because everything for me, I mean, it is definitely a relationship, right? But it's still at the end of the day, I'm doing this to make money,
okay?
Right. So if you're a broker, and this is why, Johnny is the broker. So, because all right, as the broker. And I think this is where we've run into a lot of the issues and why people do that. As the broker, the only real way to make money is to grow your team big, right?
So,
right?
And I got
quantity over quality.
I got to answer for that. That's my point right there. So first of all, that's not the only way. I'm in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I still have clients.
Mm-hmm.
I still do listings. I don't do as many buyers, but I still do buyers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm deep in the game myself. So I'm going to make money myself if I have to.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, I want my agents to be successful and I want them to make money. But it's plenty of money in real estate. We're going to make money. The goal is not to just amass agents so they can make me money. The goal is to help them to learn the business. The money's going to come. You know what I
Always.
mean? Once they learn the business and once they good at what they do, and we all have a camaraderie and we working together, we'll make plenty of money.
I'm gonna say something. I want to hear your thoughts.
He
on
got
that.
different perspective.
No, I want to hear it, but I want to say
agree.
something real quick.
Like-
The reason I'm saying that, all right, and I'm talking about just anybody. So let's just use some of the basic the brokers that are out here. $7,000 cap, right? You got $7,000 cap. You got 10 agents. Bruh, I'm not doing all that work for $70,000. I'm working. That's like working a job for $70,000. You capped. I mean, you don't. How are you getting any more money from these agents when you got a $7,000 cap? So go ahead. I'm gonna
3,
Tim.
5,
So
10. They
here's
all
the
over the
thing,
place.
right? When you look at, so just from experience, you learn that most brokerages, their profit margins are, the percentage wise is low. They may be profitable. So it's only a couple ways to really do a brokerage where you're making money where you don't have to work. You either do like Charvez is doing, where you small and you have high producing agents. But on average in our area, the average you need to make per agent per year is somewhere between $9,000 and $12,000, right? That's to cover your overhead, staff, rent, everything, right? On average, if you're doing, 10 or 15 agents. Or you can go to big box model where you just get, 200 agents, 100 agents. Everybody's paying fees. Only 20% of the agents are bringing in all the revenue from sales, but everybody else is paying fees. The problem with that model is now you're obligated to hire so many people on staff because you, as the broker, you can't manage all those people effectively. So when the market shift, you can get caught up either way. So you just have to look at it what works for you. When I had my brokerage, and the only reason I kept it, I didn't want to go out and show houses, and I didn't. Even my listings, I didn't even see most of them properties because I hired people to go out and do it, because that's how all the REO brokers did it.
Mhm.
You hired a runner, and all I had to do was manage everything, right? As a team leader, having a team, I don't want to show houses. I just want to list houses, and I don't even like listing houses that much. So you get to a point where what works for you? Do you still want to be in production and make your money and then have the office support itself and still have profit? Or do you want to figure out a system where you say, okay, this is how many agents I need, this is how much production they need to do, so I don't have to work. All I have to do is manage or eventually hire a manager. So I'm not working in the business at all. And that's a process. So like where you at now, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, you would be like, man, I got 20 agents, but they're all doing what your 10 are doing now. And 5 of them are coaching the other agents. So you like, do I really have to take this listing? I'm gonna seeing red over there. You know what I'm saying? And you get to that point. But that's just a process. I personally think it's only 2 ways to do it. Either you stay small, 20 or less, or you go extremely big.
I forgot one thing. I forgot one
Yep.
way, another way that you can't add income. Because I mean, I'm not trying to work a job, right? I'm not trying to work, period. Like, and that's a lot of work as a broker. Like, I mean, I get it. You love it. I love it too. But I don't want to. I love doing the part that I like to do. And I don't like working all day. So, I mean, I'm just saying, but I might as well go get a job if I did that and using that analogy. But I forgot. So you can get money. You could get money from your splits on your referrals.
Yeah. I mean, it's plenty way. Like I said, the goal, it all depends. Like you said, see, Reggie got 32 years. So when I get 32 years, I'm at 16.
Right.
I may not want to, but right now, I don't mind meeting people. I don't mind putting keys in people's hand, putting checks in people's hand when they done sold that first house and move on to the next house. So my goal is not just to sit back yet. I'm not ready to sit back yet. I'm deep up in this thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I feel right now. After some more years, I may want to, relax a little bit. But right now, I'm alive and kicking, baby. We
For
getting
sure.
this money.
Right. Keep your
Okay.
energy up.
And
for
we
sure.
making
Get this money.
homeowners.
Right.
For sure.
And see the brokers we came up under, like Judy and all of them. I mean, them agents like Miss Bauer. Some agents was working to their 80s. You know what I'm
Yeah, I'm
saying?
over it.
Because
crazy.
it wasn't that. Like I remember, I forgot her name, Mary something. She used to be on the east side. She would work here in the summer. She would go sell real estate in Florida in the winter.
Mm.
She would come here, still have her clients, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
that wanted to sell their home. They were all selling here and relocating to Florida. So she would go down there and sell them houses.
Sweet.
And
Sweet.
that's like the perfect setup.
Mhm.
She wasn't doing it for the money. She just wanted to stay busy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
A lot of people
another.
on
That's a
retirement wanna
different.
do
Yeah,
that.
I agree with that.
It's really about what you make it. But me looking back, if I would have known what I know now, I would have had a different system. That's why we had a conversation, because it's like you need to create it at any point in time. You need to create it so it can run without you
Mhm.
and still be profitable
And that is true.
support your lifestyle.
Mhm.
And then you can say, okay, I want to go help these clients,
Mhm.
right? Maybe all your clients aren't buying 400,000, 300,000. Maybe you want to start a program for first-time home buyers, and you go and you know what I'm saying, you help with that and you launch it. Now your agents can run it.
Exactly.
So it's just different courses for everybody, but at the end of the day, most brokers a lot of agents are getting their broker's license and they're not going to be profitable.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then their agents, like I see so many brokers where I'm talking to the agent and I'll be like, where your broker at? Oh, my broker at work. Oh, what you mean? Like, and you probably know a few of them. They and I'm not talking about like
Yeah, for it.
you know,
Crisis.
yeah, they at Ford or something, or they have
Hospital.
some professional job, and that's fine. But how much service is that broker really giving to the agent, right? And then some brokers do have other careers, but they're committed to their agents where they can sit down.
That's all I've been
and
saying
they
from the
have certain
beginning. Just
stuff
be committed
scheduled.
to your agent. That's what I've been
Right.
saying from the beginning. Because if you committed to them, they get to training, they know what they're doing. It makes all
That's
of our
all
lives
you
more
need.
easier.
Yep.
Mhm. Where can we find you at?
CMilesRealty.com, at CMilesRealty on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I don't really use it though, but definitely CMilesRealty. I'm all over the place. Thanks for
Okay.
having me. I appreciate you.
Thanks for
Man.
coming.
Right.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Look for the
There's-
championship belt.
Right.
There's
That's
something
all
about
you
real
need to do.
estate podcast on all social media platforms streaming now today. That's a wrap.
Well,